Bam! So we're excited. Um, I think I added. So I'm actually in my grandmother's bedroom.
Okay.
Oh, Long Island, New York. So how cool is that? So I'll mention that. Well, I just really want to get an update to what's going on with you and talk about your faith because I'm sure that is what has
Yep.
gotten you through all of this. So it's
Absolutely.
only going to take us a few minutes, maybe 22 minutes or whatever, to kind of record this, and then we'll go from there. Okay? I look like a mess. I'm a hot mess right now.
I do too.
You look fine. You do. And your wife is just so wonderful and beautiful. All
She's
right,
good.
so I'm gonna get ready to go in three, two, one. Good morning, good morning. Wake up and good morning. What a wonderful and beautiful day it is. And it is a new year. Happy New Year to everyone. It is 2025, and I am grateful, thankful, and blessed to be alive. And I am excited to have my highly esteemed guest, James Lea, which we also call him, AKA No Limb Jim. He is not a stranger to the show. He's been on the show at least once, possibly even twice. But I wanted to have him back because it is a new year. And over the Christmas holiday, I saw him stand up with some legs. How
Yes.
cool is that?
Yes, Pastor Jay. Thanks for having me on. So, yeah, 3 years ago on December 8th, I had a surgery go horrifically wrong. I died numerous times. I was in a coma for a couple months, and I ended up having both of my legs and then at least part or all of each finger and both thumbs having been amputated as a result. And it
Mm,
has been 3 years since I walked. I got legs at the end of October, and then I
mm-hmm.
started standing. Let's see, end of November, early December, and then I said to myself, I really just. They told me it'd be a year before I got to walk again,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, no, God's bigger than that.
He
With
is
God,
bigger than that, you know.
with
I'm
God, all things are
actually.
possible.
It
You know,
is.
man.
I'm sitting here right now in my grandmother's bedroom. I'm in Long Island, New York. I come to visit her, pop up here for a day. She's 96 years old today, and I wanted to see my grandmother. And as I was, praying about who can I have on the show this year to start and kick the year off that would give a lot of hope, and I immediately thought of her. And before we started taping this show, she and I was singing gospel songs, old hymns. It is well with my soul, right? This
Yeah,
little light of mine, things like that.
yeah.
So I want to add, it's been 3 years and you have a smile on your face. And I remember the struggles that you had gone through with your insurance and all of that. You had like I said, a surgery that went wrong, and you lost your legs and part of some of your fingers. Is it well with your soul today?
It is well with my soul. I'd be lying, Pastor Jay, if I didn't say every day was a battle,
Okay.
and it is. But every day is a battle with a purpose, and
Hmm.
every day is a battle with God leading me and by my side and carrying me. Um, I was going to say that I really wanted to walk again, and Christmas Eve, I heard that still small voice say, "Tomorrow,
Mm.
take steps in faith." And was getting ready to go to bed, and I'm tired all the time, don't sleep very much. I was going to bed early, and I told Michelle when she came in, I said, I really believe God is saying for me to actually try to walk tomorrow. So
Mm.
I went to bed, got up. Our family, our kids have always known the truth about Christmas and the guy who comes down chimneys. Um, and Christmas is really just a celebration of giving in our family and blessing each other or blessing others, not about getting. And we were going to open presents. And I said, here, this is what I think I heard the Lord say last night, which was to take steps in faith. And I think that that is probably means I'm supposed to try to walk today. And
Mm.
so, why don't we open presents first now, just in case I fall and have to go to the hospital? And of course, my daughter heard. my little daughter was like, "Well, Daddy, that's really not taking a step in faith. That's like praying for rain and not bringing an umbrella." And I said,
Mm.
"Okay." Um, we got the walker, and I walked across the room. Mhm.
Wow.
And the next day, December 26th, I went to physical therapy in DeLand, and I walked. It was a 22 or 24-foot track, and I made 5 round trips. So that's about 200 feet that I walked. And the significance of that is the day after Christmas in 2021 is a day that I woke up from the coma that they said I'd never wake up from.
Mm.
So God is there. Our pastor up in Virginia used to just you and Sister Carol would have gotten along. She's been gone with the Lord for a while, but she would go to China and smuggle Bibles and
Mm-hmm.
fought with the Bibles and like open up this suitcase, and she's like, whose suitcase is this, where's the key to this and get out of opening the suitcase. But one day in church she just starts belting out, with God all things are possible, Matthew 19:26. And she made
Mm-hmm.
this up, and I'm like, that's a really good verse to live by. And
It
that's been my
is.
verse since waking up, through all of the troubles, through all of the battles, the fights, the losing my insurance, getting put on Medicaid, losing Medicaid when um when the pandemic ended,
Mm-hmm.
and finally getting Medicare in June. Through all of this, it's been like, God, I cannot take another step without you. Literally, I can't take another step without you. So with him today on Christmas Day, I took about, I don't know, 15, 20 steps. And yeah, it's well with my soul, Pastor Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you wonder, am I going to make it through today? What am I going to do tomorrow? But God always comes through.
We talked about the hymn "Is It Well With My Soul." I was singing it earlier with my grandmother, as I mentioned, but the story behind that is the gentleman who wrote the hymn. It started with a poem. He had one
Mhm.
of his businesses burned, and then his son died shortly after, and then he was going to go meet his wife and daughters in another country, and on their way over, his daughters perished, and his wife sent him a note back and said, "Saved alone." What now type thing. And on his way over, traveling over to meet his wife, that's where he wrote the poem that came with this "It Is Well With My Soul." I'm
Yes.
going, how do you lose so much and still believe that God is good? I mean, I know why I believe it, that all things are possible through him, and still move on with a smile on your face.
Having lived it, having lived through like 35 years, 30 years of really being a Christian,
Hmm.
and 30 years ago saying, God, I'll follow you, and
Oh,
not realizing, not counting the cost, not knowing what it was going to mean.
oh
I
yeah.
ended up like this because of following God. I I
Mm.
went I went to places that were not great, and helped a lot of people. Got sick with West Nile virus. I've been shot. I've been kidnapped,
Mm.
and,
Oh my
and
goodness.
I've had malaria. I've had West Nile virus, dengue fever, and and God has always seen me through it. Pastor Jay, my wife and son and I, we lived in Africa for a while, and while we were there, we saw a man literally raised from the dead,
Mm.
bitten by a black mamba snake, dead, been dead for a day,
Wow.
back alive. In a prison years ago in North Carolina, I saw God multiply one sweet potato pie to feed 75 inmates and a bunch of people there who were ministering to the inmates, and there were pieces left over.
Oh, I believe it.
As
I believe it.
as the ladies were cutting the, see, I'm just Jim, the happy go lucky. Hey man, I saw some sweet potato pie. Can I have some? Like, sure, I'll go get you some. Go, Mama Gina needs some sweet potato pie. Who did you tell we had sweet potato pie? We only have one. We're not going to give it out. We don't want to riot. I said,
And
all right.
I get that, right? I mean, because
Yeah.
every Thanksgiving, I give out, the turkeys, I do the food and all that, and I get phone
Mhm.
calls constantly all the time. And this one, I got a call this past year, and he's like, "Oh, have I been approved? I'm on the list." Oh yeah, absolutely, sure, yeah, we got you something. Had nothing, nothing. Still taking names, still doing it because I know God will provide. That's just the God that He is. Well, we got to take a break. We're going to talk a little bit more about that and some other things that's going on with you. Don't go anywhere, guys. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay. So, Mark, at this point, I want you to get the hymn, It Is Well With My Soul. So, when I come in back from the break, that's what I want you to play. Thank you. Okay. Welcome back to Today with Pastor Jay, and we have No Limb Jim. That's what you call yourself. That's what we're going to call you. And
Yes.
you have a smile on your face, and we know that it is well with our soul. And it's been 3 years. You've managed to walk some, but I remember those early days when you were in the hospital praying for you and praying. In fact, I remember praying for you the day before your
Yes,
surgery.
you did. I went to the Flagler County School Board mission meeting
Hmm.
when they were having the big to do about the
They
books
were
with
doing
the bad
something.
words. And I believe one of our uh, school board members had threatened to call the police on the school for
Yeah.
having, yeah. And I saw you, and I was about to have surgery. It was heart surgery. We think it was, we know my mitral valve blew up
Hmm.
for no reason. No other things wrong with me. We think probably because of having West Nile virus. And
Mm.
I sensed that I was going to die.
Wow.
I sensed that I would be okay. But I remember telling you back in the back as a Pastor Jay, I'm scared. I'm
Hmm.
worried about this. Not afraid to die. I'm afraid that if I die and I don't make it, our Michelle and the kids going to be okay. And you prayed with me. I did die many, many
But I
times.
remember praying for the resurrection power of Jesus Christ to live and abide in
Yes,
you. And
you
I
did.
remember when I got the call, right? Now, what you didn't
Yeah.
know was behind the scenes, because I'm a behind the scenes. I don't have to be up front.
Hmm.
Getting the call and hearing about this, and I said, Father, you said, and I started just declaring his word. This is the confidence I have in you that if I ask anything according to your will, I know that you hear me. You give me the petitions that I have asked for. Father, you said, and I just began over and over and over again, decreeing and declaring that over you and your wife. Oh my goodness, the updates that she did on social media for everyone. I mean, she kept us in tune, and she's a rock.
She,
Was your marriage did you have like a really good marriage before this, or was this like the cream just rose to the top?
this was, Michelle's a very good woman.
Oh, we
And
know that.
very, she's stronger than I knew, much, much
Hmm.
stronger than I knew. I wouldn't, without God, I wouldn't be here. But without Michelle being my advocate and fighting for me, um, I'd have probably killed somebody in that hospital because I was so upset with what they were doing to me when I was waking up or when I was awake. Um, Michelle kept it all together, and God with Michelle kept it all
Hmm.
together. So, you know, there's that movie Bonhoeffer that's out right
Hmm.
now. And if I remember, I think this quote is attributed to him, preach Jesus always, use words when necessary.
Hmm.
And she held it together. She held it together.
Well, I mean, your entire family held it together. You held it together. So what's life like now for you? I mean,
Life
I know
is
it was a struggle, financially, the insurance. I mean, you couldn't get the necessary medical care that you needed at the time. Things are a little bit better. I mean, you were working, so providing for your family. So what's life like now? How's it going?
life is still very much a struggle. our business, Shack in a Box, is starting to take off again. Obviously, I'm not earning any income because I'm disabled, and if I earn income,
Hmm.
then I won't get the tax money that I
Well,
paid for 40 years.
right.
So, but the company now almost exclusively belongs to Michelle and the kids. My interest
I've
is,
seen them work it. I have seen them
yeah,
out there. They know what they're
yeah.
doing.
The business is starting to do better. Um, if we hadn't been led years ago by reading books from Larry Burkett and taking a series called Crown Ministries and
Hmm.
getting out of debt 25, 30 years ago, um, if we had had debt, we'd be homeless. That's how much of a struggle it is. But
Mm.
every month, um, somehow we make it, and
Hmm.
that's God. People would help through the GoFundMe. Um, God has brought in some business at times that needed to come in. I mean, right now we're in another period of we're scraping pennies together. But
Hmm.
I know that God is bigger than all of that. And I know that He didn't keep me alive and keep my wife and kids together just to dump us. Great things have happened this year. Our daughter, Faith Hannah, graduated from college with 2 degrees at 19 years.
Wow. At
old.
19, you have some
Yeah.
brilliant children. Yeah.
Our son got accepted into the accelerated master's program at Embry-Riddle, so he'll be graduating with his master's degree. And I think I heard Hope say she was admitted to that uh, the other day as well. So they'll graduate debt free because they got
Love it.
awesome scholarships
Because
with
they're
their master's.
brilliant children.
They are they are smart, but they are hard workers, and we've
I can
always.
say that.
And
Hmm.
I will say this: we have never reinforced, "Hey, you're smart," because there's always somebody that's going to be smarter than you. You're never always going to be the smartest person in the room. And I found that out when I went to medical school. I was not the smartest person in the room.
You know what I
But
tell people who think they're the
you can
smartest person in the
always,
room? They need to get in another room.
that's true. You can always
You need
work
another
harder.
room.
You can always work harder, Pastor Jay. And so if they did something and they accomplished something, we always would emphasize that, wow, you really worked hard to do that. How does it feel to put in all that work and to accomplish what you did? And that's what's led them to the success that they're having. That and the Lord and their faith in Jesus. And I got a 20-year-old daughter who put crosses in the ground to protest against abortion at Stetson University, which is one of the most liberal universities in Florida. And
Hmm.
she had people throw paint at her and do crazy stuff. I mean,
And she endured that. Well, I mean, she sees
she,
what you're doing and what you're going through, and you're raising her up that way. How can she not endure a little bit of paint thrown on her? She's like, this is nothing.
I suppose, I suppose they're good kids. God's blessed us with four world
Hmm.
changers. They are going to change the world. I know that. I don't know what they're going to do, but I know they are going to be involved in changing the world for the better.
I remember one of your friends, one of your good friends, Mike Randazzo. He was telling me you guys were at
Mhm.
some event or something or whatever. You didn't. He said he was so humbled by how you got the wheelchair. You did your own thing. You didn't
Oh
want anybody
yeah,
to assist you.
we
Yeah.
were in Huntsville, Alabama,
Uh-huh.
and
Oh
at a
yeah.
ham fest for the business. A ham fest is an amateur radio convention,
Right.
and
Hmm.
I saw that Mike had posted on Facebook that he was at the Rocket Center, and I called him up and said, "So you in Huntsville?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "You want to go to dinner?" Yeah, and I said, "Okay, I'll pick you up at 6." And he's like, "What?" He had no
What?
idea I
You
was
gonna pick me
driving.
up at 6? You're driving.
Um,
All of this.
I have this last year. Um, in 24, not as much, but in 23, I started driving again after a year of not being able to drive and getting out there and doing like you, following the Lord, um,
That is
doing
good.
the work that needs to be done. And I made a couple cross country trips. One to take my daughter Hope's research out to Utah because it couldn't fly, and one to drop off, and one to pick up my son from his internship in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and did them myself. In fact, Hope and I just went to Poland. She had a opportunity to
Did you say
do.
Poland?
Yes, Hope was invited to do a simulated moon mission with a place called the Analog Astronaut Training Center in Krakow, Poland. And she had a scholarship to go, and she had a scholarship that would pay for a chaperone because when she got accepted, she was not 18 yet. And even though she was 18, we decided, look, this is a former Soviet bloc country. Um, Human trafficking is rampant over there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Prostitution is legal over there. We don't want you to go by yourself. So dad went with her. And then she spent,
Not just any dad, no limb Jim dad. You not
yeah, no limb Jim dad went over there with my wheelchair, rode the train to Auschwitz and Birkenau,
mm,
to see, what happened in the Holocaust. That's always been. I'm very connected with the Jewish people and people in the Jewish faith and with Israel, and I've always known that one day I would go to Auschwitz, and
mm.
I went, and I did it in a wheelchair alone.
Oh, I'm just so encouraged by everything that you do. We got to take another break, guys. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. You are listening to Today with Pastor Jay. All right. All right. So we're going to come back in. I think I got a few minutes. I need to thank my sponsors, and then I'll let you say a last few words. Okay. And you have your information, your email address, your website, or whatever it is that you have. Give some information when people want to contact you. Because I want you to give
Yeah,
that. Okay. When I ask you. Because
and I will
you have a channel, a YouTube channel,
yeah,
or
the No Limb Jim YouTube channel is the best way
okay.
to
All right. That'd
proceed.
be the best way.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
In three, two.
I want to give a thank you and a shout out to Massage by Natalie. Thank you so very much for sponsoring Today with Pastor Jay, and also Church on the Rock. I couldn't be on the air without you. You know, Jim, I'm just encouraged, truly encouraged by just you living and being alive, and God never wastes a hurt. I've always said that. No matter what the hurt is, he never wastes a hurt. And I see how you're using your life to minister the gospel to other people just by your living. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for encouraging me. I want to thank you for sharing the gospel with others just by your living. And I know there are people out there that's hearing your story that they are encouraged. So what's the best way that they can contact you? I know you have a YouTube channel, and I watch all these
Mhm.
videos. I saw the video, you had it going on. I said, look at him walking.
I was doing a hokey pokey.
You doing a
Um,
hokey pokey.
yes, I was. So the YouTube channel is No Limb Jim, Lamb, Jim. Faith Hannah, my oldest daughter, came up with that. I'm there. I'm on Facebook as No Limb Jim. I guess we have a GoFundMe, and you can find the link through the YouTube channel. It's a string of actually maybe GoFundMe.com/legless dad, because back then
Mm-hmm.
they hadn't chopped my fingers off yet, so I was just a legless dad. But anyway, you can find that through the YouTube channel and on Facebook as well. And I just started doing Instagram and the Meta Threads thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Oh
know.
yeah.
We'll
Yeah, I
see
don't know
what
how
they
to do
do.
any of that stuff.
I don't know.
Well, I'm
Some people want
well,
me to
it
get
is
on
a
TikTok.
joy.
Trump wants me to get on TikTok.
TikTok.
Trump wants to follow me on TikTok.
Apparently I'm on TikTok. I didn't know it. Someone told me and said, I saw you on TikTok. I was like,
I
oh,
have
show me. I didn't even
I
know
have
I
no
was on
idea.
TikTok. I have no idea. I don't even know anything about it. But apparently there's videos out there with me on TikTok. But praise God. But thank you so very much. I want to say, my father was paralyzed from his waist down.
I did not know that.
Hmm. And I remember, I mean, he didn't walk with the Lord all his life, but I remember when he got saved and delivered, and we would go to church, and there was a song that he loved, and it was called "Walk Around Heaven," and
Mm,
he would sit there, and he could see himself. When they would sing that song in the church, he'd get so happy, and he would see himself walking around heaven right there, just loving and praising the Lord. So I know that someday that's what we're all going to do, walk around heaven. And I want to thank you so very much for sharing your story with me. May you be encouraged. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for being on the show. All right, guys, you know what I say? Yesterday's gone, tomorrow's not promised. What are you going to do today? Today, you're going to be encouraged. You're not going to quit. You're going to continue on no matter what your circumstances are. 2025 is the year to thrive. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. All right, Mark. See, Mark, if you can see if you can find that "Walk Around Heaven" song, because I would like to end with that. That would be kind of cool. If you can find a good part of that, maybe I'll find it and send it to you. All right, that's it. That's where we are. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate you. I love you, and there isn't a thing you can do about it.
Give your family our love.
I will. I'm here at
Get
my
out of New
grandma's, so
York
I'm gonna go
before
in
the
there.
bomb drops. It's supposed to get
He's.
like below zero this weekend.
I know. I'm flying back out tomorrow. I actually
Okay,
flew in
good.
this morning, and I'm turning around, flying back tomorrow.
It's supposed to get super cold up there.
It is. It really is. It is. But I got me some good Chinese food, and I'm loving on my grandma. And she and I singing gospel songs. So I'm having the time. Having a great time. I love my
Teaching
grandma.
that song, "With God all things are possible," Matthew 19:26.
Amen. I'm gonna teach her that song.
And all it is
It's the
that
scripture
you just keep saying it over and she would
over
sing
and
it.
over.
She would sing it for hours. She got up on the middle of a plane and started singing it.
I love it. I would do something
Sister
like that.
Carol. Sister Carol. Y'all are cut from the same mold. So she was
Yep.
lily white with bleach blonde hair. But
Yeah,
y'all
that's
were
not me.
the same mold.
All right. Love
So
you. Love to your
that's it.
family.